Japanto Brahma Paramam Te Postatra Taduparshana Brahma Paramam Te Postatra Upasparshanatyeva Vinirthota Malashaya Brahma Paramam Te Pustatra Mahat Tadupasparshanatyeva Panto Brahma Paramam Te Pustatra Mahattapaha Matajis Tadupasparshanatyeva Vinirthuta Malashayaha Te Pustatra Mahattapaha. Please repeat that of that holy place. Upasparshanad, by bathing regularly in the water. Eva, indeed. Vinidhuta, completely purified. Malashayaha, of all the dirt within the heart. Japantaha, chanting or murmuring. Brahma, mantras beginning with Om, such as Om Tad Vishnu O Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayaha. Paramam, the ultimate goal. Tepuhu, performed. Tatra, there. Mahan, great. Tapaha, penances. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, please repeat. Yet Narayana Saras, the second group of sons, performed penances in the same way as the first. They bathed in the holy water, and by its touch, all the dirty material desires in their hearts were cleansed away. They murmured mantras beginning with Omkara and underwent a severe course of austerities. Purport. Every Vedic mantra is called Brahma because each mantra is preceded by the Brahmakshara Om or Omkara. For example, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.8, Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu. In all the Vedic mantras, I am represented by Pranava or Omkara. Thus, chanting of the Vedic mantras beginning with Omkara is directly chanting of Krishna's name. There is no difference. Whether one chants Omkara or addresses the Lord as Krishna, the meaning is the same. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended that in this age one chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Although there is no difference between Hare Krishna and the Vedic mantras, beginning with Omkara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the leader of the spiritual movement for this age, has recommended that one chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Tadupasparshanad eva vinidhuta malashayaha japanto brahma paramam te pustatra mahattapaha. At Narayana Saras, the second group of sons performed penances in the same way as the first. They bathed in the holy water, and by its touch all the dirty material desires in their hearts were cleansed away. They murmured mantras beginning with Omkara and underwent a severe course of austerities. Om Jnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharani Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. In this verse, it is said that the second group of sons of Prajapati Daksha, they also performed severe austerities like the first batch of sons known as Haryashvas and the second batch of sons known as Savalasvas. At the same place, in the same way, and the place name mentioned here is Narayana Saras. In the translation, Srila Prabhupada mentions that they bathed in the holy water, and by its touch, all the dirty material desires in their hearts were cleansed away. Here, tad upasparshanad yeva vinudhuta malashayaha. Upasparshanad is by bathing regularly in the water, particularly in the holy waters. In the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the sages of Naimisharanya, they says, Yat pada samsraya suta munayah prasamayanaha punanti sadhyo upasprushta swadhunyapo anusevaya. They say that by good fortune we get the association of Mahabhagavatas. Just having a darshan of a great Vaishnava is far better than taking a dip in the holy waters like Ganga, Yamuna, or like Narayana Saras. The point that the sages of Naimisharanya are saying, by bathing regularly in the holy waters, one will get gradually purified. So the purification is gradual. But by having a darshan or association of a devotee, a Mahabhagavata, punanti sadhyo upasprushta. Upasprushta means just a small amount of association. What happens? Punanti sadhyo. Sadhya means immediately we become purified. Contrary to, by bathing regularly in the holy waters, we become gradually purified. But by just having a small amount of association with a Mahabhagavata, we become purified. We become purified instantly. That is the meaning of sadhya. Here, from the translation, it appears that by bathing regularly in the Narayana Saras, all their material desires in the heart were completely cleansed away. But the actual meaning that we need to understand, before they started practicing austerities and bathing in the Narayana Saras, they already had the darshan of Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a personification of Bhakti Shakti. So they have already purified, rather they are purifying the holy place which is known as Narayana Saras. So, the potency of a Vaishnava is very much explained in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If at all we claim that we are fortunate in devotional service, our fortunate condition is directly proportional to our appreciation of Vaishnavas. In one sense, it is very easy to understand Krishna comparatively, but it is very difficult to understand a Vaishnava, because Krishna's mind is known to Vaishnava, and a Vaishnava acts according to the desire of Krishna. It is mentioned again in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, just by getting trained by a Vaishnava, not only human beings, even the birds, beasts, animals, they also become Mahabhagavatas. Te vai vedanti atitaranti cha devamayam stri shudra hona shabarapi papa jivaha yat yadbhuta krama parayana sila siksha tiriyak janapi kimuhu sruta dharanaye. Tiriyak jana means the lower births, like animals, birds. Tiriyak janapi, even the lower born like animals, and there are lower born in human species also, like Stri. Who is Stri? Stharayati iti Stri means when we expand our material illusion, that body is known as Stri, and we should not misinterpret a Vaishnavi as Stri. Stri means a body which you use to expand your material illusion. In particular, Krishna created female bodies. That is why when a female body is used just to procreate and expand your material illusion, that female body is known as Stri. But when we engage in Krishna consciousness, that female body is known as a Vaishnavi, because for a Vaishnava or Vaishnavi, there is no material distinction. Stri Shudra. Shudra means the fourth category in the Varnashrama system, or particularly in the Varna system. Sri Shudra Hona Shabarapi Papa Jivaha. So, the point that we have mentioned in this verse is Yat Yadbhuta Krama Parayana Sila Siksha. Training is necessary. Training from a Vaishnava is necessary. So, in the first point we just mentioned, just by having an association of a Vaishnava, we become purified immediately. But that immediate purification is nothing but getting properly trained by a Vaishnava, that is Yajjadbhata Krama Parayana Sila Siksha. And we have the example from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, we have many examples. When Shivananda Sen was leading the group of devotees every year from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, at once one dog was also following, and by good fortune this dog developed some attachment to the devotees, and it was following all the way to Jagannath Puri, and Shivananda Sen was looking after the dog very nicely, carefully, and even to the extent of preparing special rice for this dog, because the dog likes that rice. And suddenly the dog started missing. He couldn't find. When he reached Jagannath Puri and started paying obeisances to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the dog was there, and what it was doing? It was actually honoring the remnants from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the coconut pulp. And the second day, it was told that the dog went back home, back to Godhead. So, Tiriyak Janapi means not only the lower species in the human form, but also the animal species. So, though, what is the basic criteria these Vaishnavas have the potency to deliver even the lower species, either in the human species or in the animal species? Because they have taken a shelter of Krishna very nicely by performing pure devotional service. So that is the strength of a Vaishnava. Why we offer our respects to Prabhupada? Because he is very dear to Krishna, Krishna Preshthaya. So the same way it is mentioned, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Purkasa Abhira Sambha Yavana Kasadaya Janyeshu papa yad upasrayashraya. This yad upasrayashraya suddhanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. That upasrayashraya is very important. Who is that upasrayashraya? Again this Vaishnava. Why? Because he has taken shelter of Krishna. So here, the first part of the translation is, the second batch of sons of Daksha Prajapati, they followed Narada Muni's instruction, but they have already become purified, but simply they are following the instructions of Narada Muni. Then what they have done? They have murmured the mantras beginning with Omkara. Most of the purport that Srila Prabhupada dedicated to explain about the difference between Omkara and Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the Pranava and the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Actually there is no difference, but there is a difference, isn't it? Srila Prabhupada mentioned that there is no difference actually between the Pranava and Hare Krishna Mantra. Then the question comes, why can't we just chant Omkara? Why do we have to chant all the way 16 syllable name of Mahamantra? Just simply chant Omkara and then go back home back to Godhead, because it is same as Hare Krishna Mantra. Just like we realize the absolute truth in three different features, Vadanti tat tattva vidas ajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdaye. So similarly, the Pranava or the Shabda Brahma is also realized in the three different features. The impersonal feature of a Shabda Brahma is Omkara. The impersonal feature of Shabda Brahma is Omkara. Just like Brahman feature of absolute truth is non-different from the absolute truth of Bhagavan, though it is realized from a different angle, similarly, Omkara is an impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Most of the cases we find that the Mayavadis or impersonalists, they are more inclined towards chanting Pranava than Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is also an arrangement of Krishna, because if you don't have inclination to perform pure devotional service, you are given a different opportunity. For them, Omkara is sufficient because they don't have any understanding about the topmost feature of Paramasatyam, that is Bhagavan feature of Krishna. And several places Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that we need to have some qualification and criterion to chant Omkara. Says, in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita it is said, if you chant Omkara at the time of leaving your body, you can achieve Parampadam. No doubt about it, because Krishna has said that. But there are some terms and conditions attached to that. What? You should be sitting in a secluded place. The platform is not very high or not very low. Your spine straight forward, and you should be in deep meditation. And you chant Omkara, then you can transfer yourself to Parampadam. So, is that possible in Kali Yuga? Kalau Sudra Sambhavaha. Kali Yuga Vasis are very, very unfortunate. We don't have that qualification. That's why in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has inaugurated this Nama Sankirtana movement, that we simply chant the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is also Achintya Bheda Bheda. Just like Omkara is non-different from Hare Krishna Mantra, but it is still very distinctly different from Hare Krishna Mantra, because Hare Krishna Mantra is non-different from the personality of Krishna directly. There is no difference between holy name of Krishna and personality Krishna. This is Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. But on the other side, Omkara is actually Avyakta form of Krishna. So that difference we should make it. And the other point that Srila Prabhupada is stressing is, one should not find any difference between Pranava and Hare Krishna Mantra. This aspect is very much appreciated by great Vaishnavas. Others cannot. Acharyas have given a proper explanation of pranava than anyone else. Like our Acharyas give, in Omkara we have 3 syllables, akara, okara, makara. This akara, akarocheta Krishna means akara refers to Krishna. He is Sarvaloka Ekanayakaha. He is the leader of all the planetary systems. So, in Omkara, we have 3 syllables, A, U, M. That A refers to Krishna, and who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and U refers to Krishna's pleasure potency, and who is? She is none other than Srimati Radharani, and Ma or M refers to Jiva Shakti or the living entities. So, just like Srila Prabhupada says, there is no difference between Omkara and Hare Krishna, and that Omkara, from this explanation, we see that Pranava has the complete form of Krishna in terms of his energies, in terms of his pastimes, in terms of his form, entourage, everything. In that sense, Pranava is non-different from Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, that we can understand. And in the middle portion of the translation, it is mentioned, they bathed in the holy water, and by its touch, all the dirty material things in their hearts were cleansed away. Here, the Pranava, the Omkara, is referred to as Brahma. This is also interesting. If you see the beginning verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Janmadhyasya yatha anvayaditarascardheshvapi tene brahma hruda adikavaye. So, if you see tene Brahma, that Brahma is not referring to the personality Brahma. That Brahma refers to Vedic knowledge. The essence of the Vedic knowledge is Omkara here. So that essence of Vedic knowledge is actually Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ends with Harinama Sankirtana, isn't it? So basically, the essence of Brahma or Omkara is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that we need to note. So that is referred to Brahma. Japanto Brahma Paramam te pustatra mahattapaha. They performed severe austerities. Severe austerities. In this Kali Yuga, chanting Hare Krishna is a big austerity, isn't it? Because a conditioned living entity doesn't want to associate with Krishna. Why? Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayapahruta chetasam. But at the same time, in Kali Yuga, we become very fortunate. Why we become fortunate? This Hare Krishna Mahamantra is coming directly from Goloka Vrindavan. This is the mantra chanted by Paramahamsas or liberated personalities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so kind that for the most wretched people in Kali Yuga, he has given the highest benefit. And we were mentioning that for chanting Om, you need some rules and regulations, but you don't need rules and regulations for chanting Mahamantra. That should not be taken for granted that Mahamantra is inferior anyway to Gayatri or Omkara. The very reason that there are some adjustments or facilities for easy chanting of Hare Krishna, that should be understood from access point of view. So that is only access point of view. That is not a point where you think that holy name of Krishna is inferior because it can be chanted na niyamitaha smaranena kalaha. You can chant at any time by anyone at any place. But Gayatri or Omkara should be chanted by qualified person at a qualified place. No, this is only from access point of view. So we become very fortunate when we come across this chanting process that is actually given by the Acharya or a devotee of Krishna. That is why Brahmanda Brahmate Konu Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Kripa Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. So once we have the association of a devotee, we understood how powerful devotee association is. And what we get from the devotee association is the bhajana kriya, particularly involving Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And the process is actually purifying. That is what mentioned here. That by all the dirty material desires in their hearts were cleansed away. So, we know that we have the 6 anarthas in our heart. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Madamoha, Matsaryas. But when we start practicing bhakti, these 6 anarthas, they result in 6 different flavors. As explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the second part of Madhurya Kadambini, that these anarthas are actually the cause of unsteady devotion in Krishna consciousness. Unsteady devotion means we take initiation or we start our bhajana kriya, but sometimes we progress and then we halt for some time and then we have a breaks and then we progress further. So the reasons for this unsteady devotion are very nicely explained in the form of 6 anarthas as explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the Madhurya Kadambini. The first one is called Utsahamayi. Utsahamayi means simply enthusiastic. So Utsaha is necessary for performing bhakti, but that Utsaha, which is predominantly in the mode of passion, has to be moderated by Sattva Guna. So if the enthusiasm of a beginning devotee or a beginner is not moderated by a devotee who is in Sattva Guna through the instructions, then that results simply disturbance, just like a monkey jumping. So at the stage of Utsahamayi, when we achieve some success, we show off that this is what I have done, this is what I have done. Just like a child, when he gets some good marks in one exam, he'll go and tell everyone that I have got good marks, I have got good marks. So this is the first anartha, that we have to be enthusiastic, but that enthusiasm is exercised in the association of devotees so that our enthusiasm is moderated by authorities. So this is very important. And the second anartha is, as explained, Ghanatarala. Ghanatarala means like a sinusoidal wave. Sometimes our spirits are high, sometimes our spirits are low. Why our spirits are high and our spirits are low while performing bhakti? That is due to performing bhakti with some motive. When you perform bhakti with some motive or some intention in the heart, and when you get some result, then what happens? What you want, you will feel very enthusiastic. But not always result is what you expect, because outcome is up to Krishna, because he is supremely independent, he is Swarat. You cannot decide, you can only desire. Outcome is up to Krishna. So that's why by performing motivated devotional service, we actually infected with this anartha called Ghanatarala. Sometimes we are very high, sometimes we are very low in our spirits. And the third anartha is actually Vyuda Vikalpa. Vyuda Vikalpa means indecision. Indecision. Most of the times, at the beginning of devotional service, if you don't have proper guidance, we waste a lot of time in taking proper decision, isn't it? So whether I should do this way, whether I should get married, or I should remain a brahmachari, or I should, if I am a grihastha, should I take sannyasa, or, there are so many things. So most of the time is wasted in taking proper decision, but that entire time waste is mitigated by simply taking proper guidance from a proper devotee. For that you need to be approachable, isn't it? You need to be approachable. Sometimes we have our own line around us so that no devotee crosses that limit. So we have to be malleable and approachable by devotees so that they get the freedom to approach you and give proper guidance. So that you need to facilitate yourself. So don't draw a line around so that no one approaches in the name of I'm a very strict devotee or I'm a very sober devotee. No. you should not be like a childish, but you should be like a child in devotional service. You know child? Child, if you scold, he'll be okay. He will cry that moment. But again, immediately he will come back to you. So, a devotee also should have this snigdhasya like a child. You criticize, he will be okay. But after some time, if you give chocolate, he will come back and hug you. So, a devotee also like that. We should not keep or harbor any grudges or anything in the heart. Simply, we should have this simple mentality like a child. This is called saumyam. So, this indecision is a big time waster. And another big time waster is because you have wasted a lot of time in taking decision, then you also waste time in thinking about what will happen in the future, how my outcome will be there. And for the next service, you will be thinking about the bad outcome or good outcome of your previous services. Then 90% of your time is wasted and you will have no time to practice bhakti, which is actually present tense in that sense. So, this Vyudha Vikalpa is very important, anartha, that we should be very cautious, and we can actually mitigate or minimize to great extent by being approachable to great devotees or authorities who can guide you in proper direction. And the fourth anartha is Vishaya Sangara. Vishaya Sangara means we struggle with material desires, isn't it? So even though we strictly perform devotional service to the best of our ability, but still, we struggle with our material desires. It is very important to identify that you are struggling from material desires. The problem comes when you feel you are very advanced and you have no material desires. The very fact that I am struggling in my devotional service because I have a lot of material desires, that will fill your heart with some repentance and brings humility automatically. Krishna preferred to stay in a repented heart, atripta hridayaha. So this devotee, being very cautious of falling victim to these material desires, he actually prays all the time for the mercy of Krishna. So we actually grow in devotion by falling. In Kali Yuga is so bad that when we make some advancement, we become proud of our own advancement, or even if you become humble, we can become proud of our own humility in Kali Yuga also. So that's why sometimes Krishna has some checks and balances that we become humble in devotional service. So this anartha, Vishaya Sangara, can be minimized or mitigated to great extent by performing devotional service in repentance. And the fifth anartha is Niyamakshama. Niyamakshama means we take some vows. Shri Radha Parthasarthi ki, Shri Gaurnitaya ki. Niyamakshama means sometimes we deviate from the vows of bhakti. We take some vows. We deviate from these vows, if not at gross level, but at subtle level we deviate. See, for all the four regulative principles, just like there are different shades of colors, there are different subtle levels of these four regulative principles also. And we have to be so cautious that we don't deviate even to the subtle level also of our bhakti, of our regulative principles. So this Niyamakshama is very important, and this is also mitigated by proper association of devotees, so that when you are deviating from bhakti, then someone will guide you. And the last and the most important and the formidable anartha, that's a material desire in the heart, is Tarangarangini. Tarangarangini means enjoying the ripples of bhakti. Ripples, bhakti is an ocean. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is an ocean. In the ocean, if not ocean, at least Sindhu means sometimes a river is also called Sindhu. In the river, you have some ripples, isn't it? So these ripples do not have much prominence. Similarly, when we advance in bhakti, some waves of productivity also come. And these waves of productivity are generally known as weeds, and these weeds are puja, labha, pratishtha, name, fame and adoration. These will come because weeds will grow when there is a fertile land, isn't it? So if you don't put water, not only the main plant, weeds also won't grow. You keep putting the water, and in a good soil, weeds grow and the main plant also grow. The only way by which we can take out the weeds is being very attentive. Being very attentive in watering and cultivating the main plant, you can take these weeds also away. And these weeds are compared to this desire for the name, fame and adoration. This is the most formidable anartha, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. But all these anarthas will simply be cured or mitigated by properly executing the process of bhakti, which is basically chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we become very fortunate to have this access to Hare Krishna mantra, but we also become unfortunate when we miss this opportunity of having this Hare Krishna mantra. So, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, of course, there are many points how we can chant properly, but I'll just end with this point that for chanting Hare Krishna, we must be humble. We must be tolerant. At the beginning, I said that chanting Hare Krishna is a great austerity in Kali Yuga. But even than chanting Hare Krishna, Trunadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, that is more challenging than chanting Hare Krishna in one sense, because to chant Hare Krishna continuously, we need to have this qualification. But this qualification simply doesn't come like that. See, spiritual assets are bestowed by Krishna. It's not cultivated. It's not that we cultivate humility and then we become humble. No. The spiritual assets are actually bestowed by Krishna through the agency of Vaishnavas. That's why we become Krupa Siddha. We know that we have Nitya Siddhas, Sadhana Siddhas, Krupa Siddhas. But actually there is only one Siddha, that is Krupa Siddha, isn't it? Even if you become Sadhana Siddha, that sadhana, when you become perfect in your own sadhana, that sadhana is also by virtue of mercy of a Vaishnava, isn't it? So in essence, there is only one Siddha, that perfect being is actually Krupa Siddha. That means getting a favor of a Mahabhagavata or a Vaishnava. So we should be eager to get favored by a pure devotee of Krishna. Then by the mercy of spiritual master, then what happens? We start relishing the holy names of Krishna. How we relish? Just like a hungry person relishes, even simple amount of food in a less quantity. Similarly, when you think you don't have any attraction for the holy name of Krishna, in that unfortunate condition, you can chant in a more relishing way than when you think that I am very fortunate. Yes, Prabhu said that Golokera Premadhani Harinama Sankirtana, only fortunate people, Paramahamsas, get this holy name. I am very fortunate, I am chanting Hare Krishna. No, we will not move forward very much. We should become unfortunate, like Mahaprabhu said, Durdaivami Drushimihajanina Anuragaha. In that, feeling unfortunate, then what happens? We actually start attracting the mercy of Vaishnavas. So by the mercy of Vaishnavas, we will be bestowed all the spiritual assets. And then what happens? Kirtaniya Sadahari. When we chant holy name of Krishna all the time, then all the material desires, even up to the Tarangarangini, will be slowly will be wiped out. To summarize, 3 parts of this purport we discussed. The first part we discussed was the potency or the greatness of a Vaishnava, the association of a Vaishnava. And the second thing, when you have an association of Vaishnava, then you start your bhajana kriya, that is essentially this Brahma or Onkara or chanting Hare Krishna. And when we start bhajana kriya, to make our devotion steady, we need to look for our anarthas and start attending to those. And we have discussed those anarthas which give rise to material desires. And eventually, by the mercy of Krishna, everything will be done in a proper way. So these are the three aspects of the purport we discussed. So I'll end here. If you have any questions or comments, corrections.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much for such a nice explanation. Prabhuji, I have a question, like just like you mentioned in first part of your lecture that one gets purified if any person, if he comes in associate, if he comes and take association of a pure devotee, even for a short period of time, that person gets purified. So we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita that, my question is here only, like what do you mean by purification? Just like we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Jagai Madhai met with Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu, so they were not purified because they were like, try to throw that stone also, but they became devotee out of fear. Eventually, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he wanted to kill them, so they became devotee after some time. So what do you mean by purification? Is it like that one person gets purified immediately, or it's like a gradual process that eventually person gets some knowledge, or out of fear, like?
Very good question. When you are very dirty, then you go into shower. The very fact that you are entering shower is you will be purified, or you will come out clean, isn't it? So the definition of purification is staying in the purified environment. The definition of purification means staying in the purified environment. Purified environment is where the devotees of Krishna practice bhakti. So, when we stay in the purified environment, whether we are purified or not, that is actually a secondary thing. Because we will become purified, but we understand we become purified when we think we are impure. When we think we are impure, we always seek for the purified environment. So, the meaning of instant purification is, of course, when you meet a Vaishnava, the purification starts, but that is actually a beginning of purification. And that beginning of purification results in realization of purification. Just like if you give a Kohinoor diamond to, I gave this example to a boy, 3 years old. He still has the Kohinoor diamond. The value of Kohinoor diamond doesn't reduce because it is in the hands of 2-year-old boy. But what he needs to do, he will realize this value when he becomes old, isn't it? But what he has to do, he has to hold on to the diamond, isn't it? So the moment when we associate with Vaishnava, we are basically purified. Instantly we become purified. But that realization comes with the progress of our devotional service. So technically, instantly we become purified. Otherwise, Bhagavatam cannot be wrong. Bhagavatam cannot be wrong. So that is the meaning of purification. So being in the purified environment and work towards realization of that purity. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, on behalf of the temple devotees, we like to welcome Mahavaraha Prabhu.
Hare Bol.
From Mayapur. He has come from Mayapur. Hare Krishna. मैं बोलूँ आप?
Yes.
धन्यवाद. तो यहाँ पर बताया गया विनिर्धूत मलाशया, उस पवित्र तीर्थ का सेवन करने से, वहाँ स्नान करने से उनके हृदय कमल विनिर्धूत यानी पूरी तरह से शुद्ध हो गया। अब वो आए थे दक्ष की आज्ञा के अनुसार और अपने पिता की आज्ञा के अनुसार कि प्रजा उत्पन्न करना है। अब प्रजा उत्पन्न कैसे करेंगे कि मल का जो है जितना भी हृदय कमल है वो तो सब जब विनिर्धूत हो गया, समाप्त हो गया। तो दक्ष जो है जैसा सोचते हैं वैसा नहीं हो सकता। वो प्रजा भी उत्पन्न करना चाहते हैं, हाँ, कि उनके पुत्र प्रजा उत्पन्न करें और वन में जाके तपस्या करें। हाँ, दक्ष ने जरूर वन में जाके तपस्या की और भगवान का दर्शन प्राप्त किया और भगवान से आज्ञा प्राप्त की प्रजा उत्पन्न करने के लिए। तो ये दक्ष के लिए तो है कि वो जो है भगवान से आज्ञा प्राप्त करते हैं, भगवान का दर्शन प्राप्त करते हैं और प्रजा उत्पन्न करते हैं। तो उनके अंदर फिर भी प्रजा उत्पन्न करने की कामना है, भौतिक कामना है और भगवान का दर्शन भी उन्होंने प्राप्त कर लिया। नंदीश्वर का उनको शाप है कि उनको जन्म जन्म उन कर्म कांड में उनकी रुचि बनी रहेगी। तो ये दक्ष के लिए संभव है। लेकिन उनके जो पुत्र हैं तो पहले 10,000 पुत्र हुए, तो वो भी जो है मतलब नारद जी ने जब देखा इनके अंदर हृदय में तो कोई है ही नहीं अब, हाँ, ये जो काम वासना है वो अब है ही नहीं, तो इनको तो है अब ये प्रजा उत्पन्न करने का कार्य इनके लिए नहीं है, ये नहीं, हाँ, इनको तो जो है अब भगवान की शुद्ध भक्ति में जाना है और वैकुंठ जाना है। और ये लोग भी जो है जो 1000 पुत्र सबलाश्व हैं तो इनका भी हृदय बिल्कुल शुद्ध हो गया। अब नारद जी, अभी नारद जी का दर्शन नहीं हुआ, नारद जी का दर्शन अभी दर्शन नहीं हुआ। दक्ष की आज्ञा से तुम्हें प्रजा उत्पन्न करना है, उसके लिए तुम्हें ब्रह्मचर्य का पालन करना है, तपस्या के द्वारा शुद्ध होना है, भगवान का जो है दर्शन प्राप्त करना है, भगवान की आज्ञा प्राप्त करनी है। लेकिन हो नहीं सकता है, हो नहीं सकता। तो नारद जी जब देखते हैं कि इनको, क्योंकि अभी सृष्टि काफ़ी लोग हैं जो कि प्रजा उत्पन्न करेंगे। अब ऐसी बात नहीं है कि भगवान ने जैसे ब्रह्मा जी को कहा प्रजा उत्पन्न करने के लिए, तो ब्रह्मा जी के अलावा कोई था ही नहीं, तो शुद्ध उनका हृदय शुद्ध है, प्रजा उत्पन्न कर रहे हैं तो अपने शरीर से और मन से ही प्रजा उत्पन्न कर रहे हैं, उनको स्त्री की आवश्यकता नहीं। अभी तो स्त्री के द्वारा प्रजा उत्पन्न करना है, तो स्त्री की कामना अगर नहीं है तो फिर क्यों प्रजा उत्पन्न करें। तो यहाँ पर नारद जी जो है फिर आगे चल कर क्या गए, जब देखते हैं कि ये तो बिल्कुल शुद्ध हैं, है ना। तो भागवत में एक श्लोक है, शुश्रूषु श्रद्ध धानस्य वासुदेव कथा रुचि श्यान महत सेव्या विप्रा पुण्य तीर्थ निसेवनात्। तो पुण्य तीर्थ निसेवनात्, तो जो पवित्र तीर्थ का सेवन किया उन लोगों ने और उसमें जो है उन्होंने मतलब दिव्य जो मंत्र है उसका शुद्धता से जप किया, अब तो वो जो है बिल्कुल क्या हो गए, वासुदेव कथा रुचि, उनकी वासुदेव कथा में रुचि हुई। अब वो स्त्री में कोई रुचि या जो है ही नहीं। तो नारद जी जो है जो कार्य कर रहे हैं वो बिल्कुल सही कार्य कर रहे हैं। दक्ष का भी जो है बहुत बड़ा गुण है, दक्ष का भी बहुत बड़ा गुण है कि मतलब सीधे प्रजा उत्पन्न करने के लिए नहीं बोले कि सीधे प्रजा उत्पन्न करो, शादी करो, प्रजा उत्पन्न करो। दक्ष का बहुत बड़ा गुण है, लेकिन फिर दक्ष जैसा सोचते हैं वैसा होता नहीं है। फिर आगे चलकर क्या करेंगे, कन्या उत्पन्न करेंगे, 60 कन्या उत्पन्न करेंगे, हैं वो वन में उनको जाने की विधि नहीं कि कन्याएं वन में जाएं, कन्याएं जो है ब्रह्मचर्य का पालन करें, तपस्या करें। तो वो जो है अपने पिता के मार्गदर्शन में सुशिक्षित होएंगी, प्रशिक्षित होएंगी और फिर वो जो है योग्य पतियों के साथ विवाह करेंगी और प्रजा उत्पन्न होगी। तो दक्ष की जो है जो प्रजा उत्पन्न करने की और प्रजा सृष्टि को बढ़ाने की जो इच्छा है वो इस प्रकार से पूरी होने वाली है, ये पुत्रों के द्वारा नहीं हो सकती। तो यहाँ पर यही समस्या यही है कि जिस तरह से वो चाहते हैं वैसा नहीं हो सकता है। ये बहुत से लोग हैं जो प्रजा उत्पन्न करेंगे तो उनको कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है। प्रियव्रत महाराज जो है आजीवन ब्रह्मचर्य का उन्होंने व्रत लिया, फिर स्वयं उन्होंने उनको भी विवश कर दिया कि नहीं, उत्तानपाद का वंश जो है यहाँ समाप्त हो गया। आधा ही मनमंत्र हुआ था, स्वयंभू मनमंत्र आधा मनमंत्र बीता था कि उत्तानपाद का वंश जो है वो समाप्त हो गया दक्ष के द्वारा। दक्ष तपस्या करने के लिए चले गए, अब वो जो है वंश में कोई है ही नहीं, उनके वंश में कोई है ही नहीं जो शासन करे पृथ्वी का। तो फिर प्रियव्रत ने फिर जो है शासन किया और उन्होंने फिर विवाह किया और उन्होंने जो है प्रजा उत्पन्न की। तो वो आवश्यकता के अनुसार जो है किसी शुद्ध व्यक्ति को जो है विवाहित किया जाता है आवश्यकता के अनुसार। नारद जी ने सोचा इनको विवाह करने की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं, ये तो जो है हाँ अब इस दिशा में गए हैं तो फिर और आगे बढ़ें, इसी दिशा में आगे बढ़ें, अब लौटने की क्या आवश्यकता है। तो दक्ष का जो है फिर वो कार्य नहीं है ना। अब ब्रह्मा जी ने भी 4 कुमारों को आदेश दिया कि तुम भी प्रजा उत्पन्न करो। तो प्रजा उत्पन्न करना था, शरीर और मन से प्रजा उत्पन्न करना था, वो स्त्री का कोई कार्य नहीं था, उस समय कोई नियम नहीं था कि स्त्री के द्वारा प्रजा उत्पन्न होगी। लेकिन उन्होंने इस कार्य में भी रुचि नहीं ली, वो आध्यात्मिक कार्यों में थे। तो ब्रह्मा जी को क्रोध आया, लेकिन क्रोध को उन्होंने दबा लिया, बस में किया, लेकिन तो भी वो क्रोध उनके जो है भ्रुकुटी के बीच से निकल पड़ा शिव जी के रूप में। तो ब्रह्मा जी इतने जो है समझदार हैं, लेकिन दक्ष के पास जो है इतना वो नहीं है, इतना विवेक नहीं है। तो अब वो तो वापस आए नहीं, उनके ऊपर क्रोध उतार दे कि मैंने तुमको आदेश दिया था। तो वो तो वापस आए नहीं, तो फिर नारद जी को उन्होंने शाप दिया। तो यहाँ दक्ष जो है शाप दे रहे हैं, लेकिन नारद जी जो है बड़े उदार हैं, वो सोच रहे हैं कि दक्ष की भावना, क्योंकि भगवान ने उनको आदेश दिया है तो उसके आदेश के अनुसार वो कार्य करना चाहते हैं, उनके कार्य में बाधा हुई। तो नारद जी इतने उदार हैं कि दक्ष को उल्टा शाप नहीं दे रहे हैं। ठीक है, उनकी भी भावना है, वो भगवान की इच्छा के अनुसार वो जो है प्रजा को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, सृष्टि बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, उनके कार्य में बाधा आई। तो नारद जी इतने समझदार हैं, वो दक्ष की भावना को समझ सकते हैं, लेकिन दक्ष जो है इतने समझदार नहीं है कि नारद जी की भावना को समझ पाए। तो दक्ष ने शाप दिया। लेकिन इसी तरह से प्रभुपाद कहते हैं कि जिन भक्तों, जिन युवकों को प्रभुपाद ने भक्त बनाया, तो उनके माता पिता ने शाप दिया प्रभुपाद को। तो प्रभुपाद ने उनके माता पिता को शाप नहीं दिया, उनकी भी भावना अच्छी है। क्यों? उनके जो लड़के हैं वो अब भक्त बन गए हैं, तो अपने पुत्रों में आसक्ति होने के कारण वो प्रभुपाद को शाप दे रहे हैं। तो ये भी गुण है उन माता पिता का कि अपने पुत्रों में आसक्त हैं, वो पुत्र क्या हो गए? भक्त बन गए। तो प्रभुपाद भी इतने उदार हैं, वो समझ सकते हैं उनकी भावना को और उनकी भावना का आदर करते हैं। उनके माता पिता ने मुझे शाप दिया, इसलिए मैं एक स्थान में नहीं ठहर पाता हूँ। लेकिन प्रभुपाद जो है उनकी निंदा नहीं करते, उनका भी आदर करते हैं। उन्होंने शाप दिया तो प्रभुपाद ने उनके शाप का भी आदर किया। नारद जी भी दक्ष के शाप का आदर करते हैं, दक्ष की भावना को समझते हैं। तो दक्ष जो है अब बाद में उनको समझ में आता है कि नहीं, अगर प्रजा उत्पन्न करना तो न्याय उत्पन्न करो। तो फिर पुत्रियां 60 पुत्रियां उत्पन्न की, इस प्रकार से प्रजा आगे बढ़ी। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण। I think this is the last question you want to ask. Okay, Sarvapriya. Okay, we'll take these 2 questions and then we conclude.
क्वेश्चन नहीं है, जो प्रभु जी ने मेंशन किया उसी का आगे है थोड़ा सा कि प्रभुपाद जी कह रहे हैं मैंने श्राप लिया माता पिता का और उसको एक्सेप्ट किया, और बहुत सारे मंदिर बने हैं कुछ वर्षों में ही, मैं वहाँ रहता हूँ लेकिन ज़्यादा समय रह नहीं पाता हूँ, फैसिलिटी ज़्यादा है। लेकिन मैं चाहता हूँ कि श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जो तात्पर्य वो लिखता रहूँ, इसलिए मैं चाहता हूँ मेरे श्राप जो है मेरे शिष्यों में ट्रांसफर हो जाए और वो ट्रैवल करने लगे, पूरे विश्व में प्रवचकाचार्य बन जाए जो नारद मुनि को मिला, और मैं आराम से बैठकर प्रपोर्ट लिखता रहूँ। प्रभुपाद की जय।
हरे
हरे कृष्ण। प्रभु जी मेरा क्वेश्चन है, जैसे आपने ये अनर्था के बारे में बताया, 6 अनर्था के बारे में बताया, तो जैसे ये अनर्था आपने बताया घन तरंग, ज्योत्सामयी घन तरंग, विड़ विकल्प, तो ये 1 by 1 जाता है कि एक साथ जाता है? जैसे कि भक्ति में श्रद्धा साधु संग है, तो कहते हैं जैसे जैसे श्रद्धा और गूढ़ होती है, कंडेंस होती जाती है, वैसे वैसे हम निष्ठा पे पहुंचते हैं, फिर रुचि भाव आसक्ति, तो इस लेवल पे पहुंचते हैं। तो इसका मतलब मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था।
ये 1 by 1 नहीं, so all together.
Okay.
It's very difficult to distinguish. So all will actually manifest at one stage, or some will manifest at a different stage, but these will be there. It's not progressive anarthas, no. It is not progressive. Just like when we serve Krishna in 5 different mellows, love is in all 5 mellows. Similarly, when we go through all these anarthas, the essential flavor of anarthas will be there, that is called envy. That is called envy. Matsarata. That Matsarata, that includes Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha. The effects of the 5 anarthas will be in the 6th anartha. So when you go through all these anarthas all these things, the essence of all the anarthas, that envy will be there, the matsarata will be there. So it is not gradual.
Okay. Will it finish all together?
Yes. By mercy of Krishna, Vinirdhuta means we become completely purified only when we engage in bhajana kriya properly. Yes.
Thank you.
Slight degree of anarthas will be there, but that degree of anartha is actually to make ourselves more diligent. More diligent. Sometimes some impurities are required when we are in the material world to make sure that we are not very pure and become puffed up by our purity. So there should be some tinges, and those things will actually keep you on toes. Krishna will not take those. I think we will end the class here. It's already 8:55. Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaur Premanande.